Week 3 is personal. The Chicago Bears are 0-2, desperate for a win after giving up 50 points to the Lions. And now they head to Dallas to face the Cowboys, led by none other than their former head coach, Matt Eberflus. Kind of, at least on the defensive side of the ball. The Cowboys may be 1-1, but let's be real. They're lucky to be there after Russell Wilson, the Giants, lit them up for 450 yards to the air. This isn't just Bears versus Cowboys. This is Eberflus' revenge game. Will Chicago bring the same smoke the Lions brought against Ben Johnson's old team, or will Eberflus get the last laugh? I'm Rob Schwartz with Bear Goggles On. With me tonight are my co-hosts and Justin Oniemi and Bob Weiss. This is the Halas Huddle, serving revenge games hotter than a deep dish pizza.
Welcome back to the Halas Huddle, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We've loved how our community has grown and grown video by video. You want us to keep growing? Please hit that like button. Comment on this video. Let us know what you think of this game against the Cowboys. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe now.
All right, guys, I think where we have to start is just how big of a game is this? I mean, the phrase must win is often thrown out there and people debate, can you call something a must win? This already kind of feels that way to me. You're 0-2. The only thing you're 2-0 in is being embarrassed. You're at home. You got the Eberflus motivation if you need that. You shouldn't need it, but if you do, you got that. And whether you're talking about, is this a playoff team or is this a team that's even headed in the right direction? Either way, I feel that has to start with winning this Sunday against Dallas. Now, could they lose and somehow make me eat those words? I suppose. But then you're just pushing back further and further this idea of, does this team even know how to win? I know Ben Johnson's new, but a lot of these guys have been on the roster for last season or even the one prior to that, and there hasn't been a whole lot of winning. So we can't keep seeing these long losing streaks. To me, this is a huge, huge game. I imagine you both feel the same way, but Bob, how do you frame this game?
Yeah, I mean, last week we talked about the game against the Lions not being a must-win, but it's hard to say that this isn't a must-win, I suppose. I will say this is absolutely a must-effort. This game must look like the Bears are an NFL team that know what they're trying to do and actually act like they're capable of accomplishing that. That has to happen. We know that the defense is going to be limited. We kind of know that the Cowboys, if they're anything, they're talented on offense. So maybe this is, a 45-42 shutout, which if you lose, it sucks to be 0-3, but at least you showed something. But going 0-3 is a tough pill to swallow. Right now at 0-2, at least you can say, well, so are the Chiefs, and they think they're going to make the playoffs still, right? But 0-3, 2 embarrassing losses, and then losing to a team that's supposed to be below average, that's not a great start.
I said it in the post-game episode, 12%. That's the likelihood of making the playoffs starting 0-2. You go to 0-3, I have no idea what that percentage is, but I got to guess it's probably like 2. So if they want any chance of making the postseason, this is a must-win game. But look, I kind of hinted at it in my hook. I want the Chicago Bears to approach this the same way the Vikings did. I mean, the Lions did. The Lions wanted to put 50 points on Ben Johnson. That was something that they talked about beforehand, and then they went out and freaking did it. It's almost like the NFL scripted it. I want Caleb Williams, who's going to be up against his former head coach, a guy who he kind of bashed in the media, talking to, the ESPN guy, I'm blanking on his name, Wickersham, right, in his book. I want to see him light them up. Russell Wilson, 450 passing yards. It's the most passing yards he's ever had in his career. And he just did it with Malik Neighbors, which is fantastic, but Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton. Like, the Bears have on paper better weapons. Go do something. I want to see it. I need to see it. I don't want to see a Brandon Aubrey. I'm going to put this game out of their misery. 66-yard field goal. Ruin this game. I want them to just shove it down their throats and win by double digits.
So it's clear we all know how important this game is. So why don't we shift to, what do the Bears have to do to end up in the win column? And for me, every week I've said the same thing, but I'm going to break it this week and go off something Bob said. It would be devastating, but at least entertaining, to lose a shootout, 45-42, I think was the score you threw out there. But if that happens, guys, you've given up nearly 100 points in 2 games. So for me, it's the defense. You need to start establishing the identity. We thought, and I know he doesn't have all his guys, but in the NFL, that's going to happen to you. But we thought Dennis Allen was going to generate pressure, lots of creative ways. In the early parts of the Monday night game, week 1, we thought, wow, they're getting pressure with just 4. How wonderful. Well, that's gone away. And so either that needs to start happening, and that could be through who's in the rotation, who's even suiting up. But you might have to start sending more blitzes and just going out for the big plays. Because to me, the defense has to look a lot better. Where are the playmakers? We haven't heard much from any of them. It's time to step up. And one last thing before I toss it to you guys. Just found this out about the Detroit game. That is the most yards per play that the Bears have ever given up in franchise history. And we all know they're the oldest franchise there is. So this was an embarrassment. No other way to look at it. If you do something similar, even if you eke out a win, that's very concerning to me. So to me, it starts on the defense in this game. Take some pressure off the offense too.
You go, Rob.
I've been put on repeat saying that the game needs to be clean. Look, we've heard after every game, Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams talking about how they need to clean it up. They need to clean it up. They need to clean it up. I'm tired of saying it, so I'm just going to leave that one for everyone to just go back to the old episodes and hit that button again, and you can hear that over and over again. For me, it's aggression. Okay? Or I'm going to take a page out of Wade Wilson, a.k.a. Deadpool. Maximum effort. Go out there, light your hair on fire. If you're bald, put your scalp on fire and just go do whatever you need to do. I don't care if you're going to break an arm because you're rushing so fast that you're smacking into people. Do whatever you need to do to make a freaking play. I want to see sack fumbles. I want to see interceptions. I want to see Caleb Williams throwing an anticipatory throw that just breaks Luther Burden open and he runs it for 75 yards. I want to see playmaking happen. I'm tired of this just bleh.
Rob, you were going on a list there. I thought you want to see people biting people's kneeccaps.
Hey, maybe that's what it
Dan
takes.
Campbell-y there. Well, it's starting to work, so maybe. What do you got, Bob?
Kind of to Rob's point, you just need to see that spark, right? The beginning of training camp was all this edge that this defense is playing with. We need some of that. Justin, to your point, he needs to generate some pressure. Kyler Gordon was Dennis Allen's guy. He's not there. Who's healthy and making plays right now? Jaquan Brisker, right? So maybe you start putting Jaquan Brisker in a playmaker role. He did the same thing with Tyrann Mathieu and the Saints for a few years. I think he can probably figure out a way to do that in this game. So I love to see that, but I'm just going to kind of still take the easy way out, but I know it still needs to happen, is Caleb Williams needs to take another step forward. He took a step forward from week 1 to week 2. He needs to take that step forward from week 2 to week 3. Now, is it going to be perfect? Absolutely not. We cannot be sitting here talking about how this team looked the first 2 weeks and then expect perfection in week 3. It's not going to happen, but we need progress. If there's progress from the offense, I talked about this in the Lions game. They weren't that far away from scoring 40. I know that seems silly because they only scored 21, but it's just a couple things going their way. So if they can just keep making progress and get a couple more things to go this way while subtracting a couple things that they do to themselves, 35 points is right there for them in this game on this defense, right? And on the defensive side, you play with a little more pride, you play with a little more effort, you play with a little bit more, what do you want to say, skill or scheme. Then maybe that comes down from 52 to 35, and then that's kind of where we're at in this game.
And then it becomes a kicker's duel, and I don't like our chances. But I got one more, but I'm going to save it for key matchups.
Sounds good. All right, so what do we got on enemy intel then?
So I'll throw one thing out there. Look, if there is a defensive back group that has been as bad as the Chicago Bears defensive back group, it's the Dallas Cowboys. To talk about Trayvon Diggs, a guy who was 2 years ago, I think he was an all-pro player. Definitely was a Pro Bowler, lots of interceptions, right? I think he had 2 pick sixes or maybe 3 that year. Everything seemed to be going great for him. Against the Giants last week, he gave up a perfect passer rating, including 2 touchdowns. I want to see, and he wasn't the only one. Okay. Their other corner on the other side, also Khalil Elam, also was struggling too. I want to see Chicago take advantage of that, right? Like Ben Johnson, dial something up. Last week I talked about how you needed to attack the middle, and we didn't see it happen enough. I want to see them attack those corners on the outside. Just go at them. Throw it up, even if it means you might throw a deep interception. You also might get a PI. So do what you got to do. Go get them.
Yeah, for me, it is, we got it on the header right here, the Eberflus revenge game. During Eberflus' time here, despite the Lions ascending into contender territory, the Bears always played them tough. Ben Johnson said it in his press conference today, which of course is all coach speak, which he also admitted that that's all he does is coach speak. Admitted that, Eberflus' defense have kind of always given him problems. They're very technically sound. They shed blocks. Ben don't break, very tough in the red zone. So, I'm just worried that now that's a practical thing to be worried about. Now the narrative thing to be worried about is this another revenge game doesn't go our way. Eberflus holds this team to 18 points. He finds Caleb Williams gets Williams in advantaged positions where he's trying to do too much and he throws the ball away and, all these other things is just something to worry about. So it's just Ben's got to take everything he learned from going against him in the NFC North and come up with a game plan from what he knows about the Bears to make sure that he knows what Eberflus is going to do. Eberflus isn't going to do anything different, right? So just scheme that up and make sure that, the Bears are put in a position to succeed.
I got one. I'm not sure how much this one's going to show up on Sunday, but it will be a storyline for the rest of the season in my book. But in our last episode, we talked about Ryan Poles and some of the mistakes he has made long-term and more recently. And for me, I talked about it before in Bare Necessities. This team is not generating enough of a pass rush. We said, hey, in training camp, see what Dominique Robinson has. See what Austin Booker has, who obviously got injured. But we said there are veterans out there to be signed. And guess what? Dallas just signed one of them in Jadeveon Clowney. Now let's look at it from Dallas's perspective. 3 weeks ago, they still had Micah Parsons on their team. Probably felt pretty good about their pass rush. They sent him away, obviously, in a high-profile trade, and already have addressed that. Yet the Bears, all through that time, should have addressed that and didn't. I'm not saying Clowney's going to have like a 2-sack game. I mean, it's his first game if he does suit up that quickly. But to me, it was just like, that's a move I wish the Bears were benefiting from. And if he's washed up and past his prime, then I guess no harm done. But to me, with what you're putting out there, would it hurt to have him in your rotation? I doubt it. So that's just my little enemy intel that I'm kind of keeping my eye on. We'll see. Can I do my key matchup?
I was listening for the crickets. No crickets.
No crickets. So I almost put this in Bare Necessities. Ben Johnson has mentioned it. And I'll be honest, in our chat, we've identified it even before he needed to say it. Where are the tight ends? We thought there was going to be an embarrassment of riches. Oh my gosh, can you believe they got Colston Loveland even though they have Cole Kmet? You should have 2 effective good tight ends, and right now they have 0. Ben Johnson specifically said, I mean, sometimes you fall on the sword even when you don't need to, but he basically said that's on him more so than it being on Caleb or the overall offense or even the tight ends themselves. And he almost said it in a way where I feel like he is actively trying to include them in this upcoming game plan. So it's a matchup I'm going to look for early. Can you get the tight ends involved? We think both those guys are mismatches and that putting them out there in a 12 personnel, you should be able to generate mismatches. Let's see it. Because if not, what's this roster construction about then? That's my key matchup to watch on Sunday.
Rob, you got anything for us on what that wide receiver, CD Pig is his name?
Yeah, CD Pig. CD Pig, the other white meat. Lamb chop. I'm actually more concerned about my guy who I absolutely have contractually ruined and this podcast and have not used his name enough, and that's George Pickens. No, I'm not. I'm more worried about CeeDee Lamb. But to have both of them on this team, and you talk about a tight end and Jake Ferguson, look, they have just as many weapons on offense as the Chicago Bears do. And Dak Prescott is a more established quarterback. But the matchup is going to be, and I mentioned it already a little bit, it's Caleb versus Eberflus. And look, Caleb knows this is a Tampa 2 style defense and a bend and don't break defense. Break it. Just go break it. Like that's the matchup that I want to see. I don't care who gets the ball, spread it around. Look, they're probably not going to run the ball very well. I think the Giants only had 84 yards against them, and I know they don't have very good running backs up over in New York, but just go, Cam Scatabo, just go do something. Like, just, I don't even care what it is. Just win the fucking game. That's the matchup. Just win the game. Actually, no, I take that back. The matchup is going to, Justin, you alluded to, it's Brandon Aubrey versus Cairo Santos. And I'm going to give away my pick here, but we're going to see again why Cairo Santos needs to not be on this team.
Uh-oh. Bob, what do you got?
I'm going to go with the obvious. It is, those weapons that Rob talked about, specifically CeeDee Lamb. We'll change the graphic right now to make Lamb the other white meat, but CeeDee Lamb against this secondary we just saw Amon-Ra St. Brown did to them. Now, CeeDee Lamb's a different type of receiver, but there still will be those crossing routes, right? And once he gets the ball in his hand, he's electric. So it's just, what are they going to do? And then to Rob's point, how are they going to defend CeeDee Lamb without letting George Pickens get over the top of them? So I think that this horribly undermanned secondary of the Bears versus those wideouts of the Cowboys.
Bob, if you didn't go there, I was going to have to double back because Rob kind of teased it. But if everything had gone the way we were hoping this offseason, and clearly we're not there, you were hoping Jaylon Johnson would be following CeeDee Lamb all over the field. And not only is Lamb a handful for Jaylon Johnson, but you don't have Jaylon Johnson. So, oh boy, we'll see. But you keep coming back to maybe we're going to have a shootout on our hands. Find out what it was like to be a Bengals fan last year.
Bet the over, Bears fans. All right. So, kind of mentioning Jaylon Johnson, seems like he's going to be out for a good long while, if not potentially the season. But what else do we got on the injured list this week?
It's more about who isn't on the injury list. So TJ Edwards isn't practiced today. And look, we're recording on Wednesday, so we're recording pretty early in this week. But TJ Edwards came back, hurt his hamstring, left the game, isn't practicing. Kyler Gordon, hamstring, still not practicing.
He called both
Grady
of them
Jarrett,
weak.
Yeah, Grady Jarrett, knee, not practicing, and he did not look that good against the Detroit Lions. Look, Jalen Jones now on here, hamstring, did not practice. Amagaji is limited. DeAndre Swift is limited. The rest of them I don't really care about. On the other side, look, the Cowboys did lose their starting center in Cooper Beebe. That should be a huge thing. But we also saw how the Bears just can't take advantage of anything when it comes to defensive line. So I don't really think it's going to matter. I don't even know who their backup center is, but I guarantee he's probably going to look like an all-pro against the Bears defensive front. And that's even against my guy, Jermon Dexter, who disappeared last week. Deron Bland is a guy who's on their did not practice list with a foot injury. Trayvon Diggs didn't either, but it's an illness. I just look at this and I'm like, why aren't they not bringing in any corners? Like, I just don't understand this. Like, Asante Samuel's out there, and I know he's, coming off of an injury. Go get him.
Did they have Trey Flowers in for training camp too? Was he so bad? Like,
they got rid of him and brought in a different Flowers, and now he's on the practice squad. So it's like, they need to do something.
I will say,
James Bradbury's out there.
I'm going to go against that just to say it, but if guys are just available at this time in the year, there's likely to be a reason. But still, at some point, you're signing guys off the street. Might as well be guys who have a name in the league.
Right. The flip of that is if you're wondering who's on the street, there might be a reason for that too, where you might need them.
Right.
It might be better than what you got. So it's also just kind of interesting looking at this Dallas Cowboys depth chart a little bit with both Deron Bland and Trevon Diggs not practicing on Wednesday. Their third corner is Reddy Stewart. Remember Reddy Stewart, Bears fans?
Yeah. A camp darling.
Camp darling.
DFA, I think.
Yep. Kind of Halas Huddle.
Rob, I almost got to interview him. The interview fell through at the last minute.
Right. So they also have a starting linebacker by the name of Jack Sanborn. So
yeah.
That's right. Jack Sanborn revenge game. Forget Eberflus. The Jack Sanborn revenge game.
There may be another couple Bears that followed Eberflus over there, but we'll wait till Sunday to be like, oh, yeah, look at that guy. Oh, and by the way, as far as not being an embarrassment goes, I guess I just want to throw this out here now. It doesn't really fit with training table, but this is the 325 like game of the week with Tom Brady and the number one crew. I mean, we know Dallas is supposed to be America's team, and we thought the Bears with Ben Johnson is going to be this great story. But guys, do you want to be on 325 game and just get walloped at home? That won't be a good look. I mean, cowherds, anyone are going to have a field day if that happens. So let's see the effort. Let's see the production. Let's see a win. That should have been bear down. That should have been bear down. Give me the bear down. Give me the bear down. Let's go.
Bear down, Chicago Bears.
I just meant the
They're not going to win this game today. I am not picking them to win ever again until they actually prove to me that they can. So for me to end this, Chicago Bears are going to lose 33-27.
Bob, you might witness a UFFL fight here on the air between me and Rob, but no, I don't know. You go first, Bob. I want the Bears to win, but I'm having trouble picking them.
Yeah, so I'm 2-0 in my Bears predictions. I had them starting 0-2, losing to both the Vikings and the Lions, and I have them beating the Cowboys, and I am sticking with that pick. I have them winning 34-31.
All right. Thank you. I needed a tiebreaker here. So I am going to have the Bears win. I'm going to have them score more than 30 points. So I'm going to go Bears 31, Cowboys 27.
Okay.
I don't know what the spread is, but I think the Bears are actually the underdog.
The Bears are currently an underdog 1.5 is what I see on ESPN site. And that over under of 50.5 is, I don't want to make too many, I don't want anybody to lose money because of a recommendation you found here on the Halas Huddle. But at the same time, I mean, look at the defense. Look what happened last week. Look what, for both teams. I got to assume that this is going to be a shootout.
Weapons versus injured secondaries sounds like the over. So
correct.
Again,
so they'll score 20 points
at your own risk.
Incoming 16-13 final.
All safeties for the 16. How weird. All right. Well,
hit the subscribe button if you want this team to get a win. Obviously,
sure.
I don't, so I might have to unsubscribe.
Put your prediction in the comments. Let's see what you guys are thinking.
That's right. But until next time, guys, bear down, claws up.
Ready, break.